a study of the effects of music on perception. What if I told you that I could control your mind through music? You would think I'm crazy, right? While it is true people can't control our mind with music, our mind does react in certain ways to music that you might not even realize. In this speech, I hope to show you how listening to different types of music will influence individuals' perception of certain stimuli. I will back up this hypothesis with analytical research as well as showing my own experiment to support this theory. In order to prove the hypothesis is even valid, we have to understand if the hypothesis is possible. Firstly, I studied the general neurological effects of music on the brain. Secondly, I researched the uses music has in our society in order to better understand how people positively relate to music. And finally, to understand how people relate negatively to musical stimuli, I read a study titled Memorable Experiences with Sad Music, Reasons, Reactions, and Mechanisms of 3 Types of Experiments. This study was put on by the University of Zurich in Switzerland. The neurological effects of music can be physically seen in the activity of the medial prefrontal cortex. The medial prefrontal cortex, or MPFC, is active during times of emotional regulation. These results show a link between music listening styles and MPFC activation, which could mean that certain listening styles have long-term effects on the brain. This quote comes from the AMI Center of Aalto University from the head of research there, Elvira Brodico. Music listening habits can also trigger emotional changes. Music can be used to enhance feelings and can calm people down, or, even better, can contribute to different mental stages. In a study of 144 adults and teenagers who listened to 4 different types of music, grunge music led to significant increase in hostility, sadness, and tension across the entire group, and in another study, college students reported that pop, rock, and classical music helped them feel happier and more optimistic, friendly, relaxed, and calm. American Academy of Pediatrics, in an article titled Music and Mood, created this quote. The Psychological Function of Music Listening by Thomas Schaefer, Christine Slater, and David Huron was one of my main studies that I looked towards for understanding music in social situations. We have been using music in social situations for hundreds of years. Music can be used to provide a sense of unity to a group, can be used to grieve the dead, and can also be used by mothers to soothe their children. What this paper refers to is the idea of Folks known as putting down the baby hypothesis. The basic premise of this hypothesis is that mothers used to often sing or hum when entertaining children in order to have their hands free to do other chores. As the generations progressed, singing became a stimuli that signaled to a child that the caregiver was in the area, which would serve to calm the infant. In order to understand the facts for my survey, I read a paper by the University of Zurich, Switzerland, titled A Study on the Effects of Sad Music on Participants, written by Thomas Urola and Helena Patula. This study showed that the main reason people listen to sad music is to express and resolve emotional turmoil. This study seemed to suggest that while sad music allowed listeners to express negative emotions, once these emotions are expressed, the mental state turns towards a more calmer emotion. Now that we know that my hypothesis is possible, we can take a look at the survey data. The data we gathered from the survey showed that both groups disliked metal music. The 13 to 19 age range liked gospel and country, while the 40-plus era, i.e. the baby boomers and Gen X, liked EDM. Both age groups, when faced with a negative stimuli, turned towards music that would allow them to express their negative emotions, which ultimately turned into a positive emotional change. With regards to my hypothesis, I feel my main hypothesis was proven. Now that you have seen that the research and the survey, we can ask if we can call this experiment a success. Overall, I would say that this experiment was a success. It supported the previous data found in the research and reaffirmed the hypothesis that music does have an effect on testers' perceptions. However, the limited data group should be taken into consideration, and for more concrete evidence, a wider testing pool should be employed. Overall, this study showed me that music has a notable effect on the emotions of the listener. It also showed me, does anyone really like metal?